Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the CatEye AMPP500 bike front headlight. CatEye's AMP series of headlights offer everything from commuter lights to high output headlights to match any riding style. In this review, we're going to be looking at the CatEye AMPP500 front headlight, which offers 500 lumens and an affordable price point. In terms of packaging, you can see very simple. You have a white box, red cutout with the headlight fully visible. You can actually interact with it, so you can go through all the modes and actually check it out before you buy it. On the back side, you have some of the specs, such as the run times and the other features on the other side. We'll go ahead and take this out of the box and go over the specs. Retail price on this is only $39.95, so pretty affordable. As the name implies, it has 500 lumens of maximum output. As with the other AMP lights, this also features their OptiCube technology, which is a special lens design which creates a nice wide beam, even with one LED. This is a micro USB rechargeable light, so you don't have to deal with batteries. You can always just recharge it and keep using it. And you have 4 output modes. You have their constant low-high modes, as well as their Daytime HyperConstant flash mode, and then a standard on-off flash. This also comes with the FlexTight handlebar mount, which is really simple tab design that's completely tool-free, so you can easily throw this on your bike and then take it off very quickly. In terms of what comes with it, obviously you can see we have the headlight with the bracket. We have a micro USB charging cable. We have the instruction manual, which shows you how to use it and then what comes with it. You also have their warranty card on the inside, which gives you some of the contact information for their distributors. Now let's take a look at the weight of the headlight. So the headlight by itself, that comes in at 102 grams, which is impressive given the fact that it has an internal battery and aluminum body. Then if we look at the FlexTight handlebar mount, that comes in at only 16. The CatEye AMP headlights all share a similar distinctive beveled rectangular design, so you can see an elongated body with these sharp corners all around it that give a unique appearance. This has a metal body, so it's aluminum body with a semi-glossy black finish, and simple branding. You just have AMP500 on one side, AMP500 on the other side, and then the CatEye logo on top. You have a simple power button on top with this rubber design, the lens on front, and then you have a micro USB charging port underneath. Would have preferred a USB Type-C charging port, but this is an older light, so it's not surprising. I do want to point out the gasket on here is actually really nice, so it's a little rubber cover. It's a round design, and when you push it in, you can see it sits nice and flush. With a lot of lights, these actually are harder to get down, which means you can get water intrusion, but with this one, it's nice and flush, which ensures you can ride this in the rain without an issue. This light also uses a single LED, which uses their OptiCube technology. So you can see it's a simple reflector design. It is a symmetric beam, so you can mount this upside down or right side up, doesn't really matter. But you can see you have a hot spot in the middle where that main LED is, and then this nice uniform wide beam around it. So you can see it looks like a cube, and that means when you're riding, you get this nice wide beam that illuminates everything around you. And that's pretty impressive given that this light is only 500 lumens. As far as mounting, it's a pretty simple design. It uses the CatEye tab style. So you can see it's elongated slots, and these slide onto a corresponding mount. They include their FlexTight mount. So if I match up the slot and then push it in, you hear the nice click, and then you have this release lever here. So you have to remember to push that down all the way and then pull it off. You can see when you're releasing that, that actually pulls this little tab here. So that'll go into that corresponding locking slot in here. And that's what really keeps it nice and secure. This is a simple handlebar mount, and you can see it actually has side-to-side adjustments. So you can adjust the beam angle, and you just have to remember to push down and not up. So push it down against the headlight and then pull it away. So you can see very simple design. This has almost a zip tie appearance. So you can see when I take the ring off, I can adjust this little zip tie. It has a little rubber gasket on the inside. I can wrap this around my handlebar and then slide on this little locking ring. And you can see once you get it tight, this will actually push up against it. And as you rotate this, it'll actually tighten up the cable. So you can see as I tighten this up, it's actually pulling this more taut and gives a nice and secure mount onto your bike. And with this one, you can simply put this on your bike and then quickly attach the light and then take it off while leaving the bracket on your handlebars. As far as the user interface on this, really simple. So a long hold turns the light on. Single press will cycle through the 4 available modes. You have low, high, this daytime flash, a standard on-off flash, and then back around to high. Double press also jumps you to high, so if you're in the flash mode, you can see if I double press, it'll take me to the high mode, and if I press again, it'll take me back to the mode I was originally. It's a nice feature and lets you jump to the maximum mode immediately. It would have been nice if the flash modes were separate, but you can see you'll always have to cycle through them. Long hold again turns it off, and when you turn it back on, it has mode memory, so it remembers where you were. There also is an illuminated power button here, so this one actually illuminates red when you're less than 20% battery. So it gives you a nice low battery status indicator. Now let's take a look at the different output modes on the light. They've kept it pretty simple, so you have a high mode, which gives you the full 500 lumen, 250 lumen low mode, which is good for 3 hours. Then you have the daytime flash, which is nice and eye-catching at full 500 lumens. Then a more eco-friendly flashing mode with 250 lumen and 50-hour runtime. You can see here on the camera, it looks pretty dim. At 500 lumens, it's not the brightest light on the market, but it looks a lot better in person. You have a nice wide beam, and the Allty lens gives you a nice combination of the center spotlight with a well-defined trapezoidal beam that has a uniform flood pattern. With the one level menu, you can see you always have to rotate through the flash mode, which is a little bit annoying. So you do have to watch out for that when you're riding, but you can always access the full power mode with that double tap, which is also a nice feature. But otherwise, a pretty strong light. It's really affordable and simple design, so you just simply click through different modes, and you have a nice wide beam, even though it's only 500 lumens. It's a great choice if you're doing commuting or urban riding. If you're riding at much faster speeds or need more runtime, I'd recommend a brighter light, but the 500 lumens is more than enough for the basic commuting or lower speeds on dark trails. Now let's compare the AMPP500 with other lights on the market. We've reviewed quite a few headlights here, but at 500 lumens, the AMPP500 is on the lower end in terms of brightness, so it's better suited for urban riding or commuting. We do have the Magicshine Allty 400 though, which is 400 lumens. You can see quite a bit smaller. It has a metal body as well. And the Magicshine has a lot more features, so you can see you have a battery status checker. It's actually 3 levels rather than just having a low status. It has a Garmin mount rather than the CatEye mount, which makes it a little bit more easy to use with a lot of out front mounts on the market already. And you can see the lens design is the main difference here. It has a more standard reflector with these little horizontal deflectors on here to help reduce some of the glare. So if we actually compare these lights, you can see the beam design is a little bit different. So with this one, you do get that cube design with their OptiCube technology. So it's a bit wider, so at the same distance, you can see you have a wider beam with a hot spot in the middle and uniform around it. You can see with this one, you get this second beam almost with those horizontal deflectors, and that helps reduce some of the glare. But otherwise very similar. The Allty 400 is also very affordable, and it is USB Type-C, which is a nice feature. So rather than having the micro USB, you can use a more modern cable with this instead. Magicshine also has some other lights. They have the ZX Pro, which actually is an STV-ZO light, so you can see it has a beam cutoff, and that means you won't have any glare. So if you're riding in front of this light, as long as you're above that beam line, there's actually no glare, which is really cool, but it's only 200 lumens versus the 400 from the CatEye. You can go much brighter. We've reviewed a lot of the 1000 or 1500 ones. This is the Magicshine RN1500, so very similar design as the 400, but you can see just a lot more output. And this is a little bit more equivalent in terms of size. Nog blinder is 900 lumens, and you can see again similar, but CatEye does have that distinctive beveling at the edges and their OptiCube lens technology. There are also a lot of cool lights from Trek. So we have their Trek Commuter Pro. This actually has a reflector style beam cutoff. So again, you have a beam cutoff, so you won't actually blind people in front of you, compared to the CatEye, which has a standard cone beam. So you can see it's symmetric. With the Trek Commuter Pro, you can actually control a taillight as well, which is a pretty cool feature, but it's almost $100. Topeak has their WhiteLite as well, which is very similar. So you can control a taillight with a separate button, and it does have a reflector style lens, so you can see the LED on top rather than being in the center, which again helps reduce any glare. Now let's go over the pros and cons for the CatEye AMPP500. What we like about it is they have a compact form factor, so it doesn't really take up much space. It also has a wide beam with an OptiCube lens design, so it gives you a nice combination of a spot beam and then a flood beam. You also have the eye-catching Daytime HyperConstant flash, which is great for daytime riding, as it has an irregular pattern. The main negatives with this headlight is the fact they do have a micro USB port, which is a little bit dated at this point. It would have been nice to see USB Type-C. It also lacks a multi-level battery status indicator to give you more feedback on the current battery status. Taking everything into account would give the light an 8.3 out of 10. It's a simple and affordable headlight. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at thesweetcyclists. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.